It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belgast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 371. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar. Kodra.
Merry holidays.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Thou must queue, wait, and hope.
You. Wait. Hope.
2002.
2002. Yeah. Sorry for no show last week.
At least they're fixing that this coming week.
Yes, somebody broke out Wireshark and determined that there was, in fact, an issue server side, as opposed to their claims that it was just all due to, players' bad internet connections.
I mean, when in doubt, blame the players.
Yeah.
Sorry for no recording last week. It was a bad weekend. If you follow me on social media, you'll know why. But things are mostly back to normal, I think, or at least getting normaler.
That's good.
So, this week, the queues are still outrageous in Final Fantasy XIV. And having finished the Endwalker story, I have kind of been playing other things, trying to give people my slot to, actually get through the story.
Yeah.
And one of those things that I have been playing is Destiny 2, because there's a 30th anniversary Bungie event going on.
I mean, it is amusing. Like, one of the things that's happening is it's so much of a problem that you can't even buy this game if you don't own it yet.
Yeah. No, they shut down sales. They just straight up shut down sales. And people are talking about this being unprecedented, but they also did this in July.
Yeah.
when the game was over crazy.
I really liked the joke from Checkpoint that it'll probably stay this way until the internet loses interest in cute bunny boys. So never.
So never.
But yeah, so I've been trying to play other things in an attempt to ease the burden. And I think a lot of people are doing that too. Like, they got their MSQ done, got punched straight in the feels so many times.
I mean, to some extent, this is clearly true, because if I tried to log in right now, I get a 4,000 queue and not a 7,000 queue.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
It's much better than it was. It's still massive, but it was like 8,000.
So anyway, I've been playing Destiny 2, and they've got a 30th anniversary event going on right now, and apparently just a bunch of weapons from other games that Bungie did. So if you want
hilarious.
If you want a Halo battle rifle, they literally created a brand new pulse rifle frame that is the Halo battle rifle. If you want,
I feel like the Halo battle rifle might be kind of overpowered in Destiny.
It is grossly overpowered. Let me tell you just how overpowered it is.
I was going to say, can I get the Halo 1 pistol?
You can get the Halo 1 pistol, but it's an exotic quest.
Is that as overpowered as
At least
it sounds?
they recognize that.
From what I understand, yes, it is that overpowered. And the thing where you could fire the one insane pulse round to break shields and such.
That was a Halo 2 thing, the plasma combo.
Yeah, they give you a grenade launcher with the Halo 1 pistol to kind of do the same thing.
Interesting. So the Halo 1 pistols thing was in multiplayer, a three headshot kill.
Yeah, they made it a sidearm, but it's a new heavy sidearm. So it fires crazy fast, but hits like a hand cannon. I have a feeling that in 6 months, once the high is worn off, they will balance the hell out of these weapons. But for right now, they're entertaining. I never played Marathon, but apparently the shotgun from Marathon is in the game. You can get two swords that are basically either half of the energy sword.
Is there a way to combine them?
No, but I hope in the future there's an exotic weapon where you can combine the two halves to make one energy sword. All this stuff is got through a new event called Dares of Eternity. And like, I don't know what you know about Zur and the Nine, but it is some trippy stuff. Like it is real weird. And you are doing a game show with the Star Horse and Zur. And they summon, like, you spin a wheel and, you know, you get a random pick of like one of 5 different enemies that you fight during a section. And there's various point modifiers and there's weird game show sounds as you score. And you get a treasure token and go to a prize room afterwards where you can get like one of these anniversary weapons. And it is nonsense. And you gain like rep with the games. And if you rank up enough, you can get like a Galahorn themed Sparrow and a Galahorn themed starship. And so it's been entertaining. Like it's a fun little like I have been in a bad way since last week and needed, I don't know, like basically mindless shooting man game was the extent of my emotional engagement, and Destiny has fulfilled that role. And I've also kind of had a change of heart about the vault thing, because Destiny's vaulting content has really, really pissed me off, but also roaming around, there is an almost oppressive amount of content that is currently relevant. So I get where they're coming from, because at some point they made it so the last 3 seasons worth of content is in the game at any given time. And because of that, there's just like so many levers to pull. And I'm trying to sort out what I've missed over the last year. But mostly it's kind of entertaining to get a Halo battle rifle, because like it's one of the only weapons I really liked from Halo.
That's because in Halo 2, at least, it is objectively the best weapon.
That was great. Like
it's like the combat rifle from Half-Life 1. Like that's just the best gun in that game.
I mean, you can kind of sort of snipe with it. You can, auto rifle with it. You could, hip fire with it. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. If you really liked the Covenant weapons, there is a version of the Covenant carbine, which is the only legendary.
Anybody like that thing?
I don't know. Apparently somebody did, because they put it in as the only legendary trace rifle in existence.
What type of rifle?
Trace rifle. It's basically a beam weapon. There's one for every element in the game, and I think there's maybe some duplication between elements, but this one is, I think this is a void one. But it's legendary, and that's the only one that they've made of that, so you're not taking your exotic slot to use it if you so choose.
Oh, are they normally exotics?
Yeah, they're always, all of them so far in game have been exotics. I mean, because they're kind of overpowered if you're using them correctly. They're basically like a zero kick auto rifle that's super fast, and if you could draw a bead on somebody, you could just shred them.
And at least some of them have the longer you fire this thing and keep it on a target, the more awful it gets.
Similar to Warframe's beam weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I love beam weapons.
Another weird thing that I noticed is there's apparently stasis element weapons. Stasis being their freeze spec, shadow spec thing. Because I got a stasis shotgun and a stasis hand cannon, and right now the Dawning event, which is their holiday event, is going on, and there's a stasis sword you can get, which is weird because if you're spec'd in a way to buff stasis damage, it also buffs these weapons, and also they occupy the kinetic slot instead of the elemental slot. Anyway, it's been enjoyable kicking around and shooting stuff and doing all the things. And probably one of the things that Destiny does best is allowing you to get into something that feels like a group activity but has zero actual engagement with other players. Just the ability to drop into strikes and things like that are group content but don't require anything out of you to actually coordinate as a group.
I think we have a couple other games that are really good at that, but yes.
Yeah.
It's not common.
To go back to what I said a second ago, I do think Warframe is one of them, and I keep meaning to go back to that because they just made their big patch. But it sounds like that's going to be the perennial start of year activity.
It's just a big patch.
No, I mean for me in general. That's a game I check out in January and February a lot for
It's
some
fair.
reason.
I need to do the same thing. I need to patch it up and give it a shot because similar thing. Like it's always, whenever they add new stuff, it's always compelling.
In the week or so ahead of Endwalker launching and New World being a complete dumpster fire, I patched up Warframe and played around a little bit. I was trying to unlock things since my map is just nonsense because it kept some of my unlocks, but what unlocks things now is not what used to unlock things.
Right.
Yeah,
You played
the
some
unlock nodes.
Yeah.
But you also probably have progress past a bunch that you don't have unlocked.
I do.
Yeah, because you played before they reshuffled the map.
Yep.
Yeah. Whenever that was.
So like I've got this buckshot pattern of things unlocked on every single planet.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could be like, hey, why don't you lock things up for me again?
Yes, I wish I could do that. Pretend I don't know anything. Explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old what I'm supposed to do now.
But with the asterisk of I don't want to lose all of my stuff.
Yes, I want my stuff, but also, explain it to me like I know nothing, because really I know nothing.
I will say that the thing you can do is basically start on Earth and follow Earth and follow the, what is it they call them, junctions?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the Mario World map.
Yeah, that's
what
what I was
follow that.
That's what I was trying to do, was basically like start unlocking things that I don't currently have unlocked.
Yeah.
But even if you do, like going through those is how you can see what did the game expect you to do in what order. Although admittedly this messes up a particular quest. It messes up Nef Anyo because Nef Anyo is weird.
Yeah.
He is your friend and not your friend and your enemy, and he's mutated but better now, and
I mean that's like old. That's because of old content that doesn't exist anymore to a degree.
Some of that, and also just some of.
But yeah,
the order is weird now.
Yeah, well, because the order that the planets are in, and then so you see him on the planets that those things take place in. But yeah,
I failed my first promotion, whatever thingy.
That happens a lot.
Because I had no clue what the hell I was supposed to be doing until, too much time had passed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like they've gotten better at explaining things, but they're still not great.
For those in particular, you can practice them. I didn't know that for a long time.
Oh, I didn't know you could practice it. Like, I thought, okay, here we go. Time to hack some stuff.
It's a real good idea.
And I failed on the final node. Like, had I not taken forever to start.
I've done a lot of those.
Yeah, like had I done better at actually starting when I was supposed to start, I would have passed it. I was running around with my, I don't know what they're called, my Kubernetes. And I know it's not that, but whatever my dog bat thing is.
Subros.
Yeah, I was running around with that, and I was running around on Mesa because that was the last thing I was playing.
Shoot lots of bullets.
Lots of bullets.
There are quite a few frames that I think you would be into, Bell, at this stage of the game.
All I really want is, Excalibur Umbra. Like, that's really all I care about. I haven't unlocked it yet, but
I need to check and see if they've done anything with Chroma. But there are definitely some frames that are, do you like to shoot guns? This frame is good at shooting guns.
Do you like to be tanky and shoot guns? Well, we got options.
God. I can't remember the name of any of the frames. I keep wanting to say Hildebrand, but it's not Hildebrand. Hildren, yeah. I think Hildren's the one that's got like super shield.
Yes, I love that one.
Yeah, I was playing that one for a while, and it was fun. Warframe is real good at releasing content.
It's still a fun one. My favorite at this point might be, even I'm having a problem with names now. The one with the big giant stomach mouth.
Sorry, what?
I don't know.
Is that like Oberon or?
No, although Oberon is also fun.
I don't know. I mean, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing because I just auto mod everything. Like I go in and say, Suggest some mods. Okay, sweet. We'll go with
It's
that.
Grendel. Grendel is the one. He has 25 shields total, 25 total, and an amount of health.
That sounds frustrating for me as the person who likes to restore shields.
I mean, any character with any amount of shields can still get 1200 overshield.
I guess that's true.
I mean, Warframe has done an excellent job of release cadences, so I am, even if I don't play the game, I greatly appreciate everything that they're doing.
They'd been a bit slow for a little while as they were preparing for their whole new war patch, which is the thing that just landed.
I mean, that's a massive patch, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I read one of the threads that's like, here's all the things that you need to do to get ready for this, and long list of things.
Most of those things had significant gameplay elements in their own right.
Yeah.
There's some real, like, to bake a cookie, you must first invent the universe.
You must invent a universe in which chocolate exists.
I forget what the actual quote there is.
To bake an apple pie from scratch.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was some baked good. I just couldn't remember which.
So I'm not sure how much we have to say on this one, but the Game Awards happened, and Final Fantasy won both of its awards.
That's good.
And people were annoyed at it for some reason. I don't know.
Look, it beat Fortnite for best ongoing game, so of course people were mad.
I mean, the WoW streamer that rage quit Final Fantasy XIV apparently threw a fit about it. So it was one of the guys that
probably
that
don't want to.
he did a story skip and immediately thought he could roll straight into like raid content, not knowing how any of the mechanics work in the game, like how markers on the ground work, and
wow.
All right.
And then he just rage quit.
Good riddance.
And threw a massive tantrum, but apparently he also threw a tantrum about this.
I really want fewer streamers whose whole thing is tantrums.
Yes.
Yeah.
God,
yeah, that would be
yes.
nice. Like, wholesome streamers are really great.
Like, they're out there. They exist. They're fun to watch. I actually started watching, what's his name, Marty's recent videos.
Yeah,
Since
they're
I
super
finished up
good.
Endwalker to see how he's enjoying things. And it's real it's fun watching him enjoy it.
Yeah, there's another streamer, Quasi, that I really dig. That's he was a WoW transplant, is now super serious into Final Fantasy XIV, and is really interested in like, other people and how they've gotten into the game.
Yeah, I watch like Mom versus Game sometimes.
But so like the highlight of Game Awards for me is the fact that Tunic finally has a release date.
Same.
Like, do you basically just want to play a modern Legend of Zelda game? I do. Here you go.
I would like to play a modern Legend of Zelda game. That sounds great.
Here's a Zelda game with starring a fox and has no words for some reason.
But has like interesting little pictograms to explain concepts. Nightingale looked cool, which is, I guess, from some ex-BioWare folks doing a Victorian Cthulhu type survival game.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I did not pay any attention to the Game Awards while it was actually on. I just watched trailers after the fact. Ash, since she threw the topic back on the list, anything in particular that you were into?
Nope, I was just going to bring up Tunic.
Yeah, like Tunic's really the highlight. That's all I wanted.
I mean, one thing that I thought was weird is that the best game of the year, according to them, was It Takes Two, which either means that I didn't get, like, I want to play more of that game, but, like, I was getting to the point of, I don't know what this game is trying to say at this point.
Well, and I thought that
Weird.
it won like some family game category, which seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
You should not play this game with your kids.
Weird. I don't know. I scanned through the winners and saw Psychonauts didn't win any of its categories. So, whatever.
It's clearly
Their opinion is
clearly
really
rigged.
wrong.
I will say one other trailer that I was super excited to see was a new trailer for Steel Rising, which is the next Spiders game where you play as a Baroque Victorian era clockwork that has seemingly gain sentience.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing quite a while. There was something some time back. I guess there was a trailer a year ago,
And like
year
for
and a half
me,
ago now, and it looked
Greedfall
cool.
was so close. Like it was so
players
close.
seem to be getting gradually more interesting.
Right, like Greedfall was so close, and I keep hoping that like maybe this one will be the one that tips over into true greatness. Because like they make interesting but flawed games.
They're very much like the Troika of the modern era.
Yes, they are. That's a good example. Because Troika was way ahead of its time.
CD Projekt Red prior to Witcher 2.
Maybe I would also accept that, but like, God, I miss Troika. I miss the kinds of games that we got when Troika was releasing games. Because like, man, were they busted and sometimes barely functional? Yeah. Were they really, really interesting? Also, yes.
I mean, Arcanum was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like it had problems, but it was a brilliant game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's honestly been Spider's games too. Like they're doing some really brilliant things. They just don't have the technical prowess or mechanical execution to really make good on some of their ideas.
Yeah.
But like they're stretching, like they're trying to do something really interesting.
And like I totally get the desire to be like, you know what? I just want a game that works. And I'm frequently like, I just want a game that works. But like only playing games that work, I realize that I'm missing out on like the really bonkers cool stuff that people are coming up with.
Yeah.
That like
if I was only willing to play games that work, I never would have played New Vegas. That's like one of my all-time favorite games.
God, New Vegas has one of the most incredible narratives. And like, can you break it? Oh yeah. Does it break itself a lot? Also, oh yeah. But it's really cool. And it's doing stuff that I haven't seen before or since.
I mean, I think this is part of why, like, no matter how good consoles get and how much stuff is available on consoles, I'm never going to fully abandon PC gaming because, like, being able to patch up and mod and fix games, even if it's like a community patch to fix things.
Yeah, it's where the jank is at.
Yeah. Like, I can go back and play KOTOR 2 with a bunch of cut content put back in and everything fixed. Because it's on PC
I did this
and
thing.
the community patched it.
Like, I did this early in the year, and it was a reasonable playable experience, and there were some super interesting things going on.
Yeah. And the games like that, the games that are like really good, brilliant games that are a little busted, like that, people do that. You know, people get invested enough in them that they fix them.
Bloodlines.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is Bloodlines is a great example because there's so many unofficial patches that fix just annoyances.
I mean, the thing about if you want to see where the future of Disney's shepherding of Star Wars is probably going, like KOTOR 2 is right there. It's almost scary how much like recent Disney Star Wars stuff has been following the arc set by BioWare games, especially KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
Well, and I'm really hoping that, you know, the remake of KOTOR does really well and we see a reimagining of KOTOR 2 because, like, that game has some problems.
Oh, yeah.
It has some serious pacing problems. It's got serious mechanical problems, but, like, it's doing enough interesting stuff that I want to see the game it should have been.
Yeah.
It has the same, it is making the same kind of like fairly like challenging commentary that the Last Jedi did. Like it is making statements about Star Wars as a thing that I absolutely thought were just going to die on the vine.
I mean, to be truthful, I think it does a better job of making those statements.
Oh, sure. Because it's got, like, what, 70 hours to do it in?
Yeah. It can ease into it.
Yeah. It doesn't have to, like, grab you by the shoulders and shake you with them.
Speaking of Star Wars, did y'all see the Star Wars Eclipse trailer?
I haven't.
No.
I mean, it's basically a Star Wars game by Quantic Dream. It's going to be coming out.
No.
I did hear about.
Yeah, like I'm deeply scared by that notion, but
I have serious concerns.
I mean,
there's not a whole hell of a lot to go on in the trailer because it's mostly just some pretty pictures. But it seems to be set in the High Republic era.
I guess I can be comforted knowing that Disney oversight will probably be a good thing there.
Yeah, probably.
It's rare that I have that opinion.
It will be better that they are overseeing it than not.
Yeah.
Can we just keep David Cage out of the area?
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
That's the major problem there.
Like I don't think we can. There's so many studios I would love to see make a Star Wars game. This was not one of them.
That was not of all the Star Wars games that have been rumored to be worked on, that was not one of them. And I kind of wonder if it's gonna involve maybe the origins of the Black Sun. I don't know.
They have reintroduced the Black Sun in the comics recently and are doing a lot of stuff with them. So I wouldn't be surprised if
perfectly great first third and then fall apart. I'm not sure I can actually credit Detroit Become Human for having a great first third, honestly.
See, I want a Star Wars game by Arcane or Insomniac.
Insomniac is a little busy.
I know, but they should make all the games.
Make all of them.
They're very good at it.
I don't really think they should make all the games, but they are quite good at it.
Okay, so we were talking about 14 earlier. Tam, I'm guessing this is your topic.
Oh my god, the Summoner.
Have you now had a chance to play Summoner?
I have had a chance to play Summoner. So I've been playing this game since the beta, or playing this class since the beta. I jumped into Black Mage for a bit and then jumped into Arcanist for the beta. Summoner is my first love, and it's been a fraught relationship, I'll be honest, because there's some stuff that I really love about it, but for a lot of ARR, the thing that I loved about Summoner was that I didn't have to work very hard. And it made for a really good raid leading class because the actual play was not very complicated.
Also, you get a healer for free.
Yeah.
So that's plus.
Yeah. And honestly, Summoner has struggled with having a coherent identity for a long time because it was the dot class for some reason because we needed to put bio on somebody for some reason. And
it's cool. They gave it to Machinist, so you don't have to have it anymore.
Yeah, it's just been a mess. Just overall, the class has been a mess. And I kind of half jokingly suggested an alternate design for it that I honestly didn't think would ever be real. Where it was okay, so what if you actually leaned into the whole Summoner thing and you had a whole bunch of summons that you brought out briefly to do something really cool and then affect your regular attacks based on which one is out.
So actually make summoning feel a little more like it does in the mainline Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, it's what if Summoner felt like it did in the mainline Final Fantasy games with throw some additional, the summon you have out changes your basic rotation in some interesting way so that you actually have something to do that feels meaningful. And
sure enough,
that's what the class is now. It's great. It's the most coherent. It's the most coherent it's ever been. But from a class design standpoint, it hits on the theme. It's fun to play. It's got interesting places you can go with its design.
It has more than one fun button, and you get to press it more than once every 2 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
You are pressing buttons that do flashy things all the time and scaring yourself and others in dungeons into running away from things that they don't need to run away from.
Well, that's kind of been a Summoner staple from the start.
Yeah, well, when you're in the final trial and suddenly Titan shows up right on top of you, like
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
When you hit level 90, you're not summoning eggies anymore. it's the real guys.
And I haven't gotten there yet, but I've seen it, and it's really cool. It's like this is what I hadn't dared believe I'd signed up for, and it's kind of my like this is sort of my answer to like, oh, you could never do that, it would be overpowered. Like, no, everything is a solvable problem. Like if you went to a bunch of FF14 players 3 years ago and said, what if you summoned full-sized primals as part of your class? They'd be like, no, you can't do that. That sounds like a blue mage thing. But no, like you can't do that in regular play. It's like, no, you can. You could make it work. Any design works. You just need a good design for it.
Yep. Well, it also helps that in game, like as far as the story, we know a lot more about summoning and primals and all of that stuff. So when you get to this point, it's not just like completely against the story for the Warrior of Light to be summoning these primals. Like we have a better idea of what all this is. So we can do this in a way that's not horrifically dangerous, only mildly dangerous.
But it's been a while since I've seen. I think that the last time I saw what amounts to some flavor change, honestly, some flavor changes and some retuning of some buttons, because like realistically they cut out a bunch of buttons from Summoner, and there's like one or two new ones, one of which is your kind of core ability, but it's not like unbelievably complicated.
No.
The changes are not unbelievably complicated. And I think the last time I saw anything that was this scope of changes that just completely changed for the better in an almost unbelievable way, like the experience of playing a class in an MMO was the 1.71 WoW rogue changes when sub became a thing that you could just play.
I was going to say the Shadowbringers Machinist changes.
I mean, maybe
which they decided ammo shouldn't be a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can make your class work in a sensible way other than cramming as many abilities as possible under a ability you hit every minute.
Yeah.
Was that also the point at which they decided that trying to keep a bar in the middle of...
Yes, it is.
Was a bad idea? Yeah. Every other class, fill your bar up all the way and then do a thing. Machinist, if you fill your bar up all the way, that's terrible. No. Keep it right in the middle. Yeah.
The thing about Stormblood Machinist is that you do, in fact, want to fill up your bar all the way. You just need to time it with the start of Wildfire.
Mm.
And that's how you play optimally. You overheat exactly every 60 seconds.
And I've come down on FF14 before for not being very creative or flexible with its class designs. And it's not. You're getting a class. That class is doing a thing. You don't have a choice. You don't really have a choice in the matter. But when it does, one of the benefits of leaning that hard into you only do one thing is you can have these really focused and thoughtful ways of playing a class that just mesh really well. And I think I'm most critical of their class design when they don't do that, which was the case of Summoner through like much of Stormblood and all of Shadowbringers, where even when they got the numbers right, because those were also wrong, yikes. But even when they got the numbers right, it still wasn't like that interesting to play because it didn't feel like you were part of a coherent game or a coherent class design.
There have been a few of these. They spent the start of Shadowbringers clearing out a lot of them, but Summoner did not make it.
Yeah.
Well, I remember one of the problems that you were having with Summoner during Shadowbringers was that Summoner could not burn.
Oh, yeah. No,
let me tell you, that's not a problem anymore.
No.
Oh, no.
I mean, I don't I haven't run numbers on Summoner versus Black Mage, but I suspect they're pretty favorable.
I mean, believe it or not, I think Black Mage damage is more even than Summoner damage.
I'd believe it.
I noticed this as a tank.
Black Mage got a lot of quality of life by not having to manually keep that buff up.
It's true. Same for Dragoon. They don't have to keep their buff up either.
I do want to play these new classes at some point. Just don't think I'm willing to wait for it right now.
Yeah,
That's
when you can actually log in eventually.
I also have now played a little bit of Reaper. Reaper is kind of fun.
Yeah, I've got Reaper up to 72 at this point, and so far it's. I mean, you swing a scythe around, and it looks really cool.
And sometimes a ghost also swings a scythe around.
I'm only at 72 or something like that also, so I don't have that quite yet. But yeah,
I know you get the big
neat.
thing at 80, but you still have the buttons that consume your gauge and make the other thing happen.
I wasn't sure how much I would like it, but it's actually a lot more fun than I think I was expecting. Sage is pretty neat. I also don't have that up very, very far yet either, but I do like the whole healing with lasers.
I have that at 80. I really like Sage.
Nice.
Sage looks really neat. I also just like those Gundam things, so...
Yeah, that might be helping to make my decision somewhat. But it is also fun to play.
So I'm curious, in a census sort of way, because I know at some point we'll do the show, how many have made it through the main story quest at this point?
I have not even made it to level 81 quests.
Endwalker?
I have made it through.
Yeah, I'm all done.
It's a little harder to play on this coast, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yep, that. I mean, we can log in pretty comfortably at 11:30 on a weeknight.
So long as you don't not like sleep.
Yeah, like the answer is, I guess if you're logging in very early, you get a lot of play.
Yes.
You can get a full day in if you can log in really early before the queues get long.
Yeah,
But you can only do that on the East Coast.
I mean,
You can get up early enough to do it on the West Coast, because I did it last Saturday or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, when I've logged in at 7 a.m. Central to get a little game time in before work, the queue has never been above 100. Like, it's always been double digits.
And that moves real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that is basically one possible entrance.
Yeah, and mostly what I've done is log on in the morning for a little playtime before work, and then hit a button every 20 minutes or so while I'm working from home so that I can play some on my lunch break.
Yeah. Or I'll log in at some point during the afternoon and leave it running in windowed mode and just let the queue tick down.
Yeah, I've done that some too, although then you run into the 2002 errors. Although less so, and hopefully that should be fixed come the patch on Monday, I think.
Yeah, Monday night. I think it goes down a little bit earlier than usual too.
Yeah. So this upcoming patch, after this upcoming patch, you should no longer have to babysit the queue.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I never, I didn't hit the 2002 thing as bad as most people. I
mean, basically it would depend partially on when you're logging in, because basically the 2002 while you're in queue is due to the exact same. It's the exact same thing as 2002 when you're trying to log in. It's so many people in queue that the queue is literally full. Because as it turns out, even when you are in the queue, every 15 minutes, your client completely disconnects and then reconnects to the server.
I mean, if you're sitting right on it and you're fast enough to log back in, you can usually get your place back in line, but you gotta really be watching it, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
And that's the part I'm just not doing.
Yeah.
So basically every 15 minutes, it would it's supposed to be seamless. But if it tries to do this and the queue is so full that people are getting 2002s trying to log in, well, you're trying to log in. So have a 2002, which is also why a lot of times if you do get booted because of that, then when you're trying to log back in, and get through everything, you keep getting 2002s, trying to connect because that queue's still full. But the fact that queues are getting better should mean that happens less often anyway, and then after Monday, it just shouldn't at all, unless there's still some other problem. But yeah, apparently this is a bug left over from 1.0.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Which has led to people referring to it as the vengeance of Bahamut.
Nice.
So this is kind of related to the Game Awards, but apparently there was a tech demo release for Matrix Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Unreal would really like people to use their engine. And it's really interesting. So like we can cross the uncanny valley now in video games.
Right.
And it's really interesting seeing what various people come up with to do with that. Because it's kind of hard to have a specific use case because so much of games are the art style. Like, do you have a particular art style in mind? And so this thing that Unreal Engine
5,
the new one, is doing is they're showcasing this ability to have a complete city that runs in the background. It's like the next step of out of the box things that an engine gets you is photorealistic graphics and character art and so forth, which I've heard described as like trying to Hollywoodify game dev, which is definitely a weird but probably apt way to describe it. Because if your baseline, because like one of the biggest problems that like Unity has, for example, is if you are using stock Unity assets, it's obvious that you're using stock Unity assets.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not high enough fidelity to be photorealistic, but also, and so it's recognizable. And so you don't really save anything on these big asset libraries. And I find that interesting. Like, if what you're going to do is release an engine with the idea being that, yes, you can actually create and sell a huge library of common assets, you really somehow need to be able to sell those assets without it being like, oh, this is, either the player side being like, oh, this is another asset flip game, which sigh, but also deal with the fact that you can't.
Some games that got that reputation for deserved reasons.
It's true.
That's the problem, is that there are so many of them out there.
Yeah, but you can't solve the like artistic style limitations unless your artistic style is just photorealistic, and you say all of the games made with this engine are photorealistic, and lean into you can do like, I mean, they did the whole Matrix demo thing starts with a 3D version of Keanu Reeves talking that's so believable that my wife would actually actively not believe that it was CG. She was like, no, that's a video of Keanu Reeves. I'm like, that is not a video of Keanu Reeves. Here's a making of. It is a completely believable CG Keanu Reeves.
And theoretically, well, I mean, not the Keanu Reeves, but the city that they shot the game in is available to anyone who is licensed for Unity 5 or Unreal 5.
Yeah.
And so and it's massive, and so it's like one of those things where you can almost use different parts of the city to quote unquote shoot your video game on.
It'll be like the video game equivalent of everything being shot in Toronto.
Yeah. It's the video game equivalent of a location shoot.
Yeah, but also like everything being shot in Toronto, as true as that might be, works.
People don't notice it.
It worked fine. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like, more and more movies are using Unreal Engine for CGI compositing for movies.
Yeah. And
instead of like, I don't know, Maya or Softimage or whatever the latest and greatest actual 3D software is. And I'm sure I dated myself with those references, but those were the thing.
Not significantly, Maya is still the thing.
Like, Maya was brand new when I last did 3D modeling. But like, I guess to some extent, like, I'm constantly flabbergasted at how far real-time engines have come. Not just, render farm ray trace engines. Because, like, folks set the scenes up in Unreal 5 and play them back in real time. And maybe that's not the final production version, but, like, it's pretty close.
Yeah. And I wonder if this is going to turn into, hey, Hollywood, hey, movie production, here is a really, really well understood, easy way to get expensive special effects assets on the one hand, but then on the other hand, hey, there's a bunch of highly skilled people who know how to do this, who can be then poached because they're used to working in this engine. As well as, hey, also there's probably going to be a whole bunch of like photorealistic games that people are making because we can now.
I mean, I'm hoping
it better than the last set.
I'm hoping it means, hey, game development, you're going to have to pay your artists a living wage because Hollywood's going to want them.
One can only hope.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also, I mean, it's free if you've got a PS5 and can download it, or an Xbox, whatever it is.
Xbox Series X, yeah. I'm annoyed that it's not available on PC.
I suspect that there is some trickery going on that they do not want somebody on a PC to be able to pick apart.
Possibly.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I downloaded it for the PS5, and at some point I'll play through it. It's just I haven't booted up my PS5 this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's legitimately like 20 minutes of your time, but it's a pretty interesting 20 minutes.
I finally have a PS5, so maybe I should take a look at this.
Yay.
So far, I've used it to play Spider-Man. Not Miles Morales Spider-Man, original Spider-Man.
I mean, it's still...
I'm finishing it up, and then I'll play Miles Morales.
It's a really good game.
I'm kind of surprised at just how many folks have managed to pick up a PS5 in the last 3 months.
I got extra bonus lucky because I got it from Walmart. They had their drop, and I went and I managed to get in line, and my turn came up, and I went and I filled everything out and purchased it, and my card was declined. And by the time I responded to the text from my card company and everything, they were all sold out.
Oh.
And I was very unhappy about this. And I may have, I may have, slammed my hand down on my desk, in frustration, which ultimately led to my wife looking around at options and being like, well, what about these bundles? And basically I went to look and see what they were. And the short version is, they're bundles sold by third-party sellers through Walmart's website that are, they're basically scalping. They just put some garbage on there with it to make it look like they're actually, giving you something useful. But after looking at those bundles, I went back to the main PS5 page, and it acted like there was one there for me to buy, and I bought it. 45 minutes later. So I don't know. So
because you're supposed to have 10 minutes, I think, to complete your purchase, or at least that's what it told me. Because I recently went through this with Walmart.
And my 10 minutes wasn't up, and it claimed that that it was gone, and that's part of what had me so frustrated, because I still had 6 minutes left on the timer. It was like, nope, they're all sold out. Yeah. And then but then 45 minutes later, I was able to complete the sale. And I don't know if like other ones that had like the purchases had fallen through, had been freed up, and they put them back in the pot or what. But if not for my wife, looking, asking me about that, I wouldn't have gotten one. So
yeah, I just recently did this with an Xbox Series X, so which has been equally hard to get apparently.
It does seem like a lot of places have had a decent number of them in the past few weeks. So yeah.
So one of the interesting things that I heard earlier this week is that like sales for the PS5 are down in Japan, but it's basically that all of the stock from Japan is being diverted to the North American market. I don't know. So the thing that I really wanted it for hasn't come out yet, but it's coming out soon.
Which is that?
Horizon.
Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely picking that up when it comes out.
Yep.
So we're starting to get spoilers for Kamigawa, but not like traditional Kamigawa, Neon Cyberpunk Kamigawa.
Well, that's not what Kamigawa is. We're in the future, baby. It's a Cyberpunk Kamigawa set. But yeah, mostly we haven't gotten a ton of spoilers. I think we've seen 5 cards, including the Planeswalker, and I'm not actually even sure if these are official or like unofficial spoilers. But the most cool thing that we've gotten is the full art lands, which look amazing. They look very much unlike any other land art I've seen. I think these are specifically the Japanese full art basic lands. And I love how much Magic is playing with its art right now and the different types of art we are getting out of that.
Yeah. Like, even if I'm not that interested, even if I'm not always interested in the game part, the art is just incredible. And it's really cool to see them experimenting with it.
But yeah, they're like, I imagine these look like, I'm guessing, a specific kind of Japanese painting, the way this art is done.
I mean, it kind of looks like woodcuts to me.
It kind of look like woodblock prints. Which, yeah. But
yes, they look gorgeous, and they also, there are some games, and there are even there have been some sets of Magic, and this one in particular made me wish they did it, where like if you put the different pieces of art next to each other, it creates a single image, like that stretches across cards.
Those are pretty uncommon.
They are pretty uncommon, but they have been done before. I kind of wish that was what was happening here. But I do appreciate just these gorgeous pieces of art.
Actually, more than woodblock, I'd say those look most like the sort of thing you see on screens. Like the painted screens.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
Because those look more like painting than print.
We don't know a ton about the set other than that Sugo is back.
We know the Wanderer is on the cover.
The Wanderer is on the cover, which maybe we'll learn more about the Wanderer.
Maybe we won't.
Is 2021 going to be like the year of, or 2022 going to be like the year of Neo Cyberpunk?
I mean,
I can think of at least 4 things coming out that are Neo Cyberpunk.
The other one that's coming to my mind is that it seems like time has advanced in Cantha in Guild Wars 2. So that might be another one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. Time. I mean, not so much advanced, so much as they got more done in the same amount of time.
But yeah, we're living in the boring cyberpunk future, so people are yearning for the cool cyberpunk future.
It's true.
Maybe we'll get a decent Shadowrun.
Look, we can get Shadowrun games, and I'll take that if we can get it.
Shadowrun never really felt like Neon Cyberpunk to me. I mean, maybe I'm playing the wrong Shadowrun, but...
No, it was never really Neon Cyberpunk. I'm definitely here for Neon Cyberpunk, though.
We're definitely getting more cool dragons that do things when they die.
I think I already have the full
Magic
set of those.
or in Guild Wars 2?
In Magic.
In Magic.
Okay.
I was going to say, I think we're almost out of dragons in Guild Wars 2.
That do interesting
sort of the
things when
whole
they
thing.
die.
I thought in Guild Wars 2 when dragons die, spoiler, but it turns out we're causing problems.
I mean,
Sounds
interesting
like you
things
catch up.
sure do happen. But yeah, we're kind of running low on dragons in Guild Wars 2 at this point.
Clearly, we got to go to Dragon Mart. Get some more.
Load up on them dragons. I'm looking forward to this Magic set exclusively for the art. Like, I actually don't care one whit what the cards do. I just think the art is sweet.
Yeah, the art's going to be super cool. I'm very excited for it.
I'm hoping we get some interesting commander decks.
If they do a Kamigawa D&D book, let me tell you how fast I'll be buying it. That would get me to run D&D 5 again.
I mean, I'll be honest, like, I was never a big fan of Kamigawa. I kind of thought it was a boring cycle, but like this is what would change that.
I think that's probably why it's so drastically different.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's got cards of value, but I think that's the only reason why people like it at all. It was during a time when Magic was not doing super well.
It was right before the time I got back into Magic, I think, with Alara.
And that was a block people actually like.
Mm-hmm.
For a bunch of reasons.
I mean, people like wedge blocks.
It's true.
Speaking of Magic, Kodra, have you spent any time playing with Alchemy?
I have not. I have not been playing much Arena lately.
Okay, I was just curious if you had commentary on that.
I mean, the commentary I have is I generically support Alchemy as a way of doing something interesting with like online Magic. I think that using the format is a good idea. Like,
yeah,
I am not here to be like, oh no, they're ruining Magic.
That has seemingly been the reaction from a lot of people.
Of course it is. Because they're clearly ruining
Change
Magic.
is scary.
I mean, you know, the original designers would probably patch the cards if they could.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you ever talked to Richard Garriott? Absolutely he would.
I mean, there's a lot of unforeseen consequences in Magic.
Not Richard Garriott, whatever.
Garfield.
Yes, a much more reasonable Richard. I think that's probably about it, because I don't think any other topics could really be squeezed in here. One
minor thing then, I guess.
What? Okay.
Chicory, A Colorful Tale came out on the Switch. Literally this past Thursday, I want to say.
Yes.
It seems like a very touchscreen suited game. I played it on a computer that had a drawing tablet attached to it. So this is probably one of the rare few games that's going to be made better by the addition of touch controls and or motion controls.
That seems likely.
So if you haven't played it, it seems like a perfectly good place to pick it up.
It also seems like a game that I could play on the Switch in front of my 4-year-old and not feel like, that there's things going on that, he shouldn't see. Tends to be less of a problem.
There might be some scary things, but yeah, other than that, yes.
It's like, it's like fairy tale / cartoon scary. It's not beating the crap out of people in Yakuza or beating the crap out of people in Spider-Man or there's lots of beating the crap out of people.
That's kind of a thing. I think a G-rated Yakuza game would be amazing.
I'm trying to imagine how that could work, and I'm not sure I can get there, but if they could, it would be great.
I mean, I'm sure they could manage it.
It honestly, like...
Yakuza baby.
I believe that team would be able to do it.
I believe that team could do it.
Well, the thing is, like, for me, the stuff that makes Yakuza really good is the weird, goofy stuff, not the combat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the weird, goofy stuff intermixed with ridiculously heavy character drama.
Yeah, Yakuza is a series that knows exactly what it is and does not shy away from it, and I love it for that. And it absolutely could just, like, radically depart if it wanted to into, it
already did.
Bonkers drama with your good friend Kiryu.
Yeah. I mean, if you could have SD Gundam, you could have Chibi Goro.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, it would be like very, Sesame Street style with an ensemble cast of kids, all from the orphanage. Yeah, you could do this. Boy, would it be weird. But like not actually weirder than Yakuza already is.
No, not in the slightest.
One other thing we should talk about is the fact that because of the calendar, we're not going to be recording any more shows this year.
Nope.
Because our next recording would fall on Christmas Day, and then the one immediately following that would be New Year's Day.
Yeah, we do these things on Saturday, and so this is this is definitely the worst in the years we've done it.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had this happen.
Statistically, we've probably done this before.
Probably.
Well, there's always the leap year that might have
Day.
let us skip it.
We've done double episodes before to cover things.
Right.
But maybe I don't know if it's ever landed like this, because this would be our 8th Christmas that we've been recording a podcast.
It seems like it would have had to have happened like once.
You would think, yeah. But I can't remember it. So anyway, we're not planning on recording shows for the next 2 weeks, and then when we come back, we're going to do our Games of the Year show, which oftentimes ends up having to be a double show.
Yep.
Please look forward to it.
Yeah.
Because of the leap year in 2016, 2015 it was a Friday, 2016 it was a Sunday.
Ha!
Oh.
So we legitimately have not had this fall on a Saturday before.
2010 is the last time that this happened.
Yes, and we were not doing this back then, so
I think the next gap though will be a 6-year gap. So I think 2027. If we're still doing this in 2027, that's the next time this will happen.
anyway, just wanted to give you all heads up not to expect one of these for the next 2 weeks. And hopefully everyone out there that listens has a good holiday with their family, and we will try our best to have a good holiday as well.
Yes.
And we will see you all in the new year. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Okay.
You're still recording.